Hello and welcome to MGP287. I'm Kevin. With me as ever, there's Sheepdog, Anna and Pab. Say hello, boys and girls.
Hello.
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 Hello. This is all going to be a little bit weird this week. Everything is backwards because I've reshuffled my garage around to move everything and I've got my new desk. My microphone is now attached to the opposite side of my desk to what it was attached to before. So I'm twisting in the other direction to talk into it. And it just feels a little bit wrong. So there might be times when I sound very confused and distracted and don't understand where the voices are coming from and don't know where to direct the conversation because the microphone's on the wrong side of me. It also means the microphone is now directly above my mouse clicking finger. So you're more likely to hear mouse clicks. I apologise profusely. Those ones aren't me. That's Anna, I think.
Is that your justification for being wrong about what time we were going to start the show?
I was not wrong. I said we'd start at 9:30. We started at 9:30.
Actually,
I am correct.
I've just looked, probably around 9:30-ish. So, yeah.
So that gives me an hour either side. So I was correct.
Wow.
Not around 9:30-ish does not mean 9:30 and onwards. I would have said that. Sheepdog decided to just faff around, taking his sweet time, milking his Pepsi drink cow thing, and
what are you on about?
You milked the Pepsi cow. We heard you milked the Pepsi cow before.
No, you didn't. I poured from a bottle. I don't know what cow you heard.
Well, you made a lot of noise for someone pouring from a bottle.
Mm.
There you go. There's the cow again. That was the Pepsi cow. How are we all on this fine week, anyway?
Yeah, good.
Good, yeah, sure.
Can we, Pab, when you're editing, can you just insert the Looney Tunes theme tune here while we just check in with how Sheepdog's week's gone? Just want to...
Okay.
Sheepdog's Cartoon Life! Here we go.
I can't. Has anything happened this week?
So nothing set fire on your lap then, no?
Well, that was that after last week's episode?
It was.
Oh man, okay, yes. Then, do you know I complained to Amazon earlier because it took me a week. I forgot.
Here we go.
And I said to them, "This is a recommended Amazon product," and it burst into flames. And they went, "All right, we'll give you your tenner back."
Do you want to enlighten the listeners as to what burst into flames?
Well, so I bought some Amazon-approved phone chargers and was driving around catching Pokemon with my son. I'd given him that charger, and he was using it, and then my charger, the charger I was using wasn't long enough, so I swapped him over. And then I pulled up and was chatting to the people we were doing Pokemon raids with, and I sort of thought, I thought one of them was smoking something funny because it just smelled really weird. I was like, what? Like, I don't know really what I was thinking. I just thought nobody's smoking, but it smells like somebody's smoking something. And then I looked down at my lap, and my lap was on fire. And it was
an anvil fell on you.
It was the phone charger was just going.
What, the cable was on fire?
Yeah, the cable. So between the cable and the end bit, the lightning bit that goes into your phone, that just had burst into flames, and it was just making this put noise while loads and loads of really, like, I can't really, as I said, visible smoke. All smoke's visible, but it was just like a line coming off it of like really, really smelly plastic fumes. You always wonder how you'd react when something like that happened. Well, not like specifically like that, but when a fire breaks out or whatever, I always thought I'd kind of go a bit mental and, I don't know, jump out the car and watch my car burn or something. But what I actually did was just went, "Oh, I'm on fire!" Whipped the wire out and just lobbed it out the window, all in one motion. I just like kind of went and out. Which I regret because Amazon said, "Could you send us some pictures and maybe the wire so we can analyze it and make sure this doesn't happen to other people?" And I was like, "Mate, that wire's long gone." I threw it straight out the window. I didn't even check if it was still on fire when I threw it. It had like this big orange ball of flame at the end of it. I assume it went out as I pulled the power away from it because that's probably the source of its powers. But yeah, I don't know. There could be if a church burned down in Market Deeping, I had nothing to do with it. That's all I'm saying. Because I was in a church car park.
Of course you were.
That's where all the Pokemon gyms are.
Of course they are.
Other than that, I don't think anything happened. I think I've had a relatively normal week. I Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
There we go. The end of Sheepdog's cartoon life. Anyone else got anything exciting and or ridiculous that's happened to them? Before I just spin this whole podcast off into being Sheepdog's cartoon life.
No,
I think I'm just I'm gonna rebrand it. It's just gonna be me asking Sheepdog what weird things have happened to him in the previous week.
Yeah, nothing matches what happens to Sheepdog in a week.
Every time I think that'll be it, like I was saying to someone at work that I thought I'd be through it all and free, but no, it just keeps coming, doesn't it? It's Dratini Day tomorrow, so I'm spending 3 hours driving around deep and catching dragon Pokemon with my son. Okay. Hopefully that won't lead to any more shenanigans. It can't happen on a Saturday because I forget about it. I'd forgotten about playing into Amazon. I'd forgotten it had happened.
But you left it a week to ask Amazon for your money back.
Well, I just suddenly thought on the way home I should probably go on there and leave a review. So I left a 1-star review saying it caught fire. And then I thought, I wonder if I should complain to Amazon because they had their "We recommend this product" badge on it. It's one of their recommended charges of choice. So now they're going to pull them all out and test them, apparently, which I doubt they will. I can't see it. Can you? They're not going to go open every box and run 1,000,000 volts through them, are they?
They should.
Yeah.
Are we moving on to talking about some video games then, if no one else has got exciting shenanigans? I'm very sad when we don't have shenanigans.
Yeah, it's been a very boring week for me, so I've not no shenanigans for you, I'm afraid.
Disgraceful behaviour.
Yeah,
so, who's played some video games then?
Well, go on, I'll let Anna go first once because I always talk first.
Do you?
Well, I always start rabbiting, don't I?
You can't listen to the last 10 minutes.
First, I got a key for the station on PlayStation 4. I believe this is on everything. And you basically are sent to a spaceship that is now empty. No, the spaceship has gone to this world, like on the outskirts, to observe it because they're having a war, and you were like in stealth mode, but your stealth thing failed and you were exposed, and after that everyone on this spaceship went missing, so you are sent there to find out what happened. And basically it's like a puzzle game, like you have to find things for certain areas for them to open, so like you have to find all the tools to obtain a wristband that has someone's sign-in credentials, and it looks pretty, and it's from people that made BioShock and games like that.
Oh, really?
So it's like they've got the team, but they're quite small because they're quite new.
Yeah.
I didn't play a lot of it because I played it on a Tuesday, and a Tuesday I'm quite tired. But what I did play of it is very pretty, and I will go back to it. And I think it's like $12.99. It came out like this week, and check it out if you want. It's not a walking simulator, but with stuff to do, not just walk around and look at something. It's all like futuristic and pretty, like, you know what I mean? Like,
looking at pictures, it looks pretty cool.
So that's cool. And then what else I played? I played some of The Witcher yesterday.
Oh,
I don't know why.
Why?
I you know when you sat there thinking, I've done some work, what shall I do just to chill out? So I put on some Witcher. I only played like an hour of it. I went back to, because I was fighting a vampire, because I was on the second bit of DLC, so I wasn't on the thingy one, I was on the wine one.
Blood and Wine, yeah.
I was on that, and at the end of it, there's a battle, obviously, and I can't do it.
The end of the game?
No, this is the end of the DLC, I think.
That's the last thing that is available, basically. So it's pretty much the end. You're at that final boss battle
of that DLC, because I haven't finished the game. I haven't finished the standard game yet, because because of the way I play games, my levels get so high So by the time that DLC came out, I was like maybe 3/4 through the game. I thought, oh, I'm level enough to go there.
Yeah.
So I went. So I haven't finished the game, and I can't. The only way I can not do that area is to go back a few hours, and I don't want to do that.
It does take you. It does move you on timeline wise, doesn't it? Yeah.
And I don't want to do that, so I went nope. And I turned that off, and then I played last night after I did some work. I put on Trine 2 on Steam.
Okay.
I started it all the way from the beginning. Again, this game is maybe 6 years old.
Yeah, probably something like that.
It's really pretty, and it's really nice, and it plays well, and I like the Trine games. So if you don't know what the Trine games are, you basically play as 3 characters, but you can only use one at a time. So it's like with your sword, but then you also have a girl that's like a stealth girl with an arrow, and she can, what's that thing called? A grapple hook on different areas, so you can get across them. And if the girl gets across, everyone gets across because you're the same. The one of the same. Do you know what I mean? It's very weird. And then there's the wizard guy, and he can make boxes appear.
Yes, he can.
and can levitate them and stack them. And again, you have to use all 3 to get across certain obstacles. And I've never really got far in Trine because it used to annoy me. I got pretty far last night. I got, because normally I think it was like this. There was this puzzle from Fly for me. I could not work it out. I would just sit there and go, what now? And this was like back in 6 years ago, before I knew what the internet was, when they had walkthroughs and stuff. But yeah, I was just playing it last night. I was just going from level to level to level, and it's very, very good. I do have Trine 3. I know Trine 3 is a bit different because you can play.
Yeah, it's got it's got some you step into the world, don't you, as well? Yeah.
So I probably finish Trine 2 because it's just, you don't even have, you think about it, but it's just going left to right basically.
Yeah.
You start one and get to the other, and there's obstacles in the way, which I find it's not hard work. And then today I'm doing my work now because I can do that. I can. What's that word? Dual task. I can do that. Multitask, that's it. So today I was looking at my games, at my wall of games, and thinking, what shall I play today? Just play. Don't think about anything. So I put in Mafia 3.
Oh, yeah.
Again. So I got
this. Started again?
No.
Oh,
so
right, okay.
I got this on launch day, and I hated it. With a passion. Yeah, I hated it. I got rid of it after about a week. I couldn't. It was buggy. That was my problem. It was buggy, and it didn't work very well. The AI was awful, and the driving was awful. You would be driving, and the weather would change, but it would go from light to day in a second, and it would just wreck me. And I can't. And the AI would look at you and do nothing, and you're supposed to be taking them out, and I was like, I can't do this. They need to fix games, so I sold it. I didn't have it for ages, and then I bought it again last year sometime, and I put a bit of time in it, but it's I can't bother. But then I put it in today, and I started from I started so when you start the game, there's this whole bank robbery going on.
Yeah.
This the demo, and that's amazing.
That's the best part of the game, to be fair.
That part of the game is so good. You've got a story, it's got a narrative, and it's oh my god, this is awesome. And then something happens at the end of it, and then basically you need to go and take down the crime syndicate in New Bordeaux, I think.
Yeah, it's of New Orleans.
New Orleans,
yeah.
So you do, but then it's weird because you have sections of the map, and then these map have basically like 2 main missions. So like one of them today was what did I do today? What? I can't even think now. So like the one I'm doing now is about prostitutes and the French area of New Orleans, and I have to go and like help the women and stop all the recordings that are happening with ladies and parties that people partake in with no clothes on, and I have to go and stop these things because they don't want the women to be victimized and stuff. So like you have a few of them to do, then you go back to the person that gave you like the quest, and then you go and take out like the person that runs that kind of business, and then you take them out, and that is basically rinse and repeat of that for each area. It's this story behind it, and like when you've finally finished it, you're like, oh, okay, because the way the story is told is through like a court hearing.
Yeah, it's like a documentary style, isn't it? Where it's like a documentary where they got like tapes of people like being interviewed, and it's a really cool idea and a really cool way of showing the story. It's so good.
Yeah, so I've been doing that, and it is rinse and repeat. But like I haven't been using my car as much, and I'm just walking around the environment, and it is pretty. Like there's stuff there that you can go and see. So if you haven't got this, like I would suggest, if you liked the old Mafia games, get it, but it is nothing like they were, because they were a different kind of game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because like I played 1 and 2 and I really enjoyed them, and then I played this and it's like this completely different. It's a completely different era. It's just different, like a different kind of character, whereas they were like gangsters. This is just a guy that's come from the army, so it's like, I don't know, it's weird, but I like it. I like the music more than anything. The music
is amazing. It's one of the best soundtracks for a game in a long time.
Definitely. And like a few months ago, they I think it was this week maybe, that they let some of the people go from that company, so that's quite sad. They've disbanded, but I heard that they may be going down the road of making another Mafia game, which I wouldn't be mad about.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it's a good. It's just it was really buggy when it first came out. It was because like I was doing that first like demo area, but like in the proper game, and my car was going up a bridge, and somehow it clipped the curb and got stuck on the side of the bridge. And you know, like in GTA, if something like that happens, you just go backwards and forwards, and you jingle yourself off. Yeah. It completely broke. It was like, no, you're not doing that. It just completely froze. Like if the police were coming at me, the police were shooting me, I could not move. I couldn't even get out of the car. I was just like, no, and I just turned it off, and I tried to go back to it, and it's like, no. But now I've gone back to it, fresh pair of eyes, and it's fun. So
yeah, it's a good game, but the reason I don't play it anymore, I played probably maybe a couple of hours past the opening bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it comes to a point where you get out of that opening bit and it's just amazing, and then you get put into the open world and he goes, go to this fella, and he gives you a quest. You go, take out the prostitute area. So you go and take out take out like a little building, you clear it out and what have you, and you go back to him. And then he goes, go and see this guy. He gives you a quest to go and take out the drug guy. So you go to a building, you clear it out, and you go, okay. So you go back in. It's just the exact same thing. Yeah. It's supposed to be that for the entire game, just in different areas, different worlds.
Well, there has been like, I think today I took out a building site. That was fun. That was different. Like I hadn't done something like that before, because stuff that happened in there, and I was like, oh, this is different. This is the kind of stuff I want to do. I don't want to go to these other places and rinse and repeat every time. Like it just but I can see what they were trying to do. I think they were just trying to put too much, and it didn't quite gel well, but it's there. I think it's like £20 now.
I imagine you get it pretty cheap.
Yeah, there's DLC for it, so if you like it that much, you can get some extra on it. And this week I'm not playing Assassin's Creed. I put that to one side for a little bit because that game's like that all-consuming. That game is like you go on it and then you're like, oh, question mark, oh, another question, oh, another tomb. Let's go down there. So you have to back away a little bit because I would just sink all my hours and my waking hours into that. So I've gone away from that for a moment, and now I'm doing work on the Pillow Pyro. So I'll let one of you lot express your gaming week.
Express our gaming week. Marvelous stuff. Who would like to express?
I've expressed my Pepsi already, haven't I? Yeah, I mean, you already know mine to an extent, but the listener doesn't. I've been finishing South Park all week, and I knew. So there's a point in it where you time travel. I won't spoil it too much, but you kind of go too far forward, and the villain of the game has succeeded. And like all sort of superhero-y, sci-fi stories, you then have to try and fix the fact that you've broken time or whatever. This game is so good; it's ridiculous. Like the story, you won't have many games you play where the story's even on par with this, let alone better. I know Anna said she started it but couldn't get into it because of the game mechanics. But yeah, I'm kind of frustrated thinking I don't know what they could do next. Like obviously the first South Park game, Stick of Truth, was like a Lord of the Rings parody. Coon and Friends and whatever the other group in the game's called, the Freedom Powers, I think they're called. They're just a Marvel ripoff. But I just can't think what they can pretend to be for a third game. But I'm hoping to God they make a third game because it's just like I thought the first game was awesome, but this game is just next level awesome. I mean, at the end, just before you guys were waiting for me and I was doing the final boss, there were so many confusing bits to it where I just didn't know where it was going to end, how it was going to turn out. Again, I can't spoil it, but there's just a part to it where you just don't know who the villain is or what's going on with the villain, and you think you know who it is, but you might not be right, and all of this sort of stuff. And then once I'd kind of finished it and seen sort of step one of the ending, that's when you sort of suddenly said, "Oh, come on and do the show." And I thought I would only wrap up in sort of 5-10 minutes, like I said to you. But then it did pretty much a 15-minute episode of South Park where it just wrapped up the whole story. And again, it was just brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. All the bits tied together. They explained like where New Kid's family are from, their past, the reasons they're in South Park, all the different other stories. And every explanation just made sense and was like it was funny, and it just was like, okay, I'm satisfied with that. Game over, sorted, brilliant, I'm done. It was just perfect. I've been having a look through just to see whether because I don't like reading it while I'm playing it in case I accidentally read a spoiler, but it looks like most people have really enjoyed it. They've all said it was a perfect sequel, that sort of thing. There's no kind of word as to whether there'll be a third game, but from what I understand, it made a decent bit of money for Ubisoft and the South Park people and Obsidian. Is it that made it? I can't remember now.
No, Obsidian didn't make this one.
Right,
they didn't make the first one. It was the Ubisoft San Francisco team, I think. Or there's a Ubisoft team that specifically was put on this.
Right. But either way, it was brilliant. And they've got to make a third one. I'll be gutted if they don't. I kind of don't know what they could do. I was trying to think of another massive series that they could, other than Star Wars, which there isn't a South Park Star Wars kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
No.
But I suppose there wasn't really a Lord of the Rings one, which was what made the first game so cool.
Yeah, it was.
They've touched on it a little bit, but they've not really done. I mean, they've done. I think I did a blog post about it. There was like 8 Coon and Friends episodes where they had Mysterion, they had Coon, they had the teams all forming and all of that, and they had like Tootaloo, the demon, appear in stuff and all sorts of stuff that meant that this made sense. But I don't think they've done more than an episode of Cartman being a wizard and all of that. When they picked Stick of Truth, I kind of thought, what why aren't they just doing Coon and Friends? And it made perfect sense for a sequel. But yeah, I loved this game. I feel really good having just completed it. If that had been a film, it'd been the perfect film of the show, sort of thing. I know they did a film back in the 90s?
Late 90s, maybe.
Yeah, which was it was okay, but
it's amazing.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since I was about 12, 13. I loved it at the time, but I just assumed that if I went back to it, it'd be terrible. But this is better. This is way better. I mean, they've grown loads of storytellers anyway. I think you'll like it. I'm surprised Anna didn't like the what's the word, mechanics, but give it a chance. I don't think Kev Woody doesn't like South Park, does he?
Nope, he does not. I watched it in 1998, and that's plenty. I made my mind then, and I haven't even considered watching it for the last 20 years.
Fair enough. But listeners, go and get it. It was perfect, and I'm well happy. It was great. Splendid.
Pork and beans, plums and veg.
Yeah.
Good old Pav.
Yeah. Okay, so what have I played?
I don't know.
Let's think. I'm checking my list now. I've started Bayonetta 2 again. Bayonetta 2 came out on the Switch last Friday, I think. And it's amazing. It's such a good game, Bayonetta 2. It came out on Wii U. 3 or 4 years ago, maybe now. 3 years ago, I'd say. And it's the exact same game. It's just it's like
but there's actually people to play it. People to play.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, that's the reason they've done it. I would have thought. But it's so cool. It's such a cool game. You liked Devil May Cry, didn't you? DMC.
I did. I liked Bayonetta as well. I never played Bayonetta 2, even though we had a Wii U. Yeah. I never bothered with Bayonetta 2. I like Bayonetta.
Yeah, it's so cool. The action in it is really cool. It's kind of anime, isn't it? It is kind of anime. Oh, I was like, oh no, I'm starting to get into anime. That's a different thing as well, because I've started watching Dragon Ball Z.
Goodness me.
Yeah, I think I'm getting into anime.
My friends are well into Dragon Ball Z, and I don't really get why. I don't remember it being a thing when we were younger, but they're acting like its return is awesome.
Yeah, it's I don't know what it is, but I don't know. But anyway, so Bayonetta 2 is just, I just like to play it. You can play it in short bursts and do like a chapter or so, and just.
Is that your cat, Pab, in the background, or is Kev's cat returned from the dead?
No, there's a cat meowing in the background. It just won't shut up. Anyway, sorry about that. It's I've only got it set on easy just because I got annoyed with the first one with the checkpointing system, and the checkpointing kept putting me miles back from where I died, and I was like, I'm not doing all this again, so I stopped playing Bayonetta 1. So I've just put it on easy and just thought I'll just go for it, and I've never felt like done some really cool moves and done some really cool looking things, and then it just for so simple, just for how simple I was doing it, I was like, that looked amazing what I did, and all I was doing was just mashing the buttons like a maniac, and it just was amazing what I did. So I will continue to play that because it's on the Switch, so good just to play in bed or something like that, or I'm out and about. It's a good. I do like the Switch. Switch is.
Anna keeps asking for one.
Yeah.
Seems rather keen.
I need somebody out there to pump and dump cryptocurrency in big quantities so that I can sell mine and buy a damn Switch.
And all I ever get is no.
But
you can buy green screens and carpet.
I've explained why that is. They are business expenses, tax deductible.
So is this.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Make one video with it.
Yeah.
Nintendo won't let me make videos.
Yeah, they will.
No, they won't let me make videos.
They'll just put a strike on you, but
yeah, exactly.
It's worth the hit, isn't it?
No, it isn't.
I thought you could sign up to their archaic.
I can't sign up to it. There's YouTubers out there with like 2 million subscribers who get declined from it, unless you're super high profile. They just say no.
No, I thought the idea was you could do it, but you couldn't make any money out of it. Which I know
what's the point?
Hang on, which I know isn't a good idea from a business perspective, but you could consider it some kind of nonsensy loss leader that allowed you to write it off as a tax-deductible expense, and then make 10 videos and go, do you know what? I'm not making any money out of these free videos. What a silly fool I am. And then that'll be the second mistake you've made today. But sorry. But yeah, the point being, you can then write it off, and you might get 10 people watching Nintendo videos and start watching all your other stuff.
I don't think my accountant would see it that way.
I didn't mean to say 10 video people, by the way. That wasn't a slight on Nintendo. I meant you might get lots of people watch those 10 videos. Your accountant doesn't know what they're on about, mate.
You're gonna get Sheepdog apparently.
Yeah, I'll be your accountant.
Yeah.
And you'd be going back to work pretty sharpish.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. He'd be getting his Switch just attacked.
He'd have a Switch, but he'd be going back to teaching because of you.
Yeah.
I don't really get why it would be a problem if you actually used it for
because
videos.
it's nothing. Because I wouldn't. That's the thing. I don't have time to, so I wouldn't.
But what if Anna started doing videos for your channel on the side?
She's not using my channel. She can have her own channel.
I've got my own channel, thank you.
Well, there you go. Buy yourself a Switch, and you can
I
do
don't
Sheepdog's
have
master
any
plan.
money. I am a student. Goes on books and stuff.
What books do you need? You go to the same uni we went to.
I need
Yeah, but
my
she's
revision
doing a
books.
proper degree.
It's just so that you can stand on them and reach something at the uni.
You're funny, aren't you, say?
I am funny.
Oh, I need revision books. I need books for my presentation to show the class. I need books about blood and about fingerprints.
You remember that internet thing you learned about 6 years ago?
Yeah, but that's boring. It always it doesn't give me what I want. Whereas a book, I can go to it, go to like the index, go, oh, fingerprints, open it and go, oh, fingerprints. Couple of pages about that. Then I'm done. The internet.
I'll show her Google
lies.
later.
I was going to say I think the greatest asset I had walking into the degree was the fact that I knew how to use Google from all the Googling I'd done in my spare time.
But Google is not the greatest.
Well, it is if you use all of the pluses and minuses and speech marks and square brackets and advanced search stuff that you should know about.
And the library, I hate. The online library, hate it with a passion. I'd rather buy the book because the amount of times I've sat there scrolling through thousands of different things that come up with the same word.
Kev, is she? Sorry to talk to Kev instead of you directly here, but I want to know because I think you'll understand what I'm saying. Is she learning the stuff instead of just finding abstract from a website that explains what she thinks?
I think real degrees are different from computing because we just had to do programming. I've explained to people before, programming is just finding someone else's code and mashing it into your own. We could do it off the internet, and I
learn law and stuff.
Yeah, but
and we had to do. We trained to be teachers, and that was the same thing. We just found.
Bear in mind, from where I'm sitting now, I can see about 20, 25 books from my 2 stints at university that I bought.
But I got the same grades as you and didn't get a single book.
Yeah, because I shared all my learning with you.
No, you didn't.
I told you what to do.
I copy and pasted stuff off of abstracts from... I didn't even read them. I just thought, I want to say that kids are naughty because their parents don't feed them, so I'm going to go and find a scientist in America that once said this, and I'm going to say that Smith said it, and I think he's right. And that's all I ever did. I just spent 10 minutes finding someone who agreed with what I already thought, and my essays all got high marks.
Yeah, but I read books about how to be an awesome teacher and stuff like that.
Anna's just got to find a person online that says blood's wet, it's probably made of strawberries, and it's not much use in a crime scene, and she just hand it in and
it doesn't work like that. She don't have to write.
She's got a real degree. That's the problem, unlike our nonsense degrees. That when I occasionally flick through job sites, I realise really are a career with. We're basically pretend degrees.
I think we're probably the only people on our course who didn't do anything with them. I
dare say we're the 2 highest paid people who did that degree as well.
I haven't thought about it that way, to be fair. Oh, well, it's good times.
Anyway, that was a Switch.
Splendid. Sorry, where's that Looney Tunes theme tune again? Where did that
go? What else have I played? The only other thing that I've played this week, and for some reason, I'm continuing to play Dark Souls 3 for some strange reason.
Why do you do it to yourself?
I've realised that Monster Hunter is just Dark Souls, and I can't bother turning the PlayStation on.
Are you sure you didn't just not swap the disc out?
No, because I'm playing Dark Souls on the PC.
Yeah,
I just can't bother turning the PlayStation on and booting it all up and have you. And I was like, I'll just play Dark Souls.
You should have kept that Batman one you won. That used to turn itself on randomly.
What?
The Batman one you won. Remember when you won a competition, you got a PlayStation and a co-hosting spot? And you sold one of those two things. If you'd have kept the PlayStation, that didn't you used to moan that used to randomly turn itself on in the night. Therefore, would have solved your problem.
This one's fine for turning on and off. It's just I don't have it turned on. I have all the power off to it in the day, so I've got to do a fresh boot every day anyway. So anyway, I don't know. But Dark Souls 3, I'm really getting into it again, and I use my I describe my progress in the game. I gauge progress on how many bonfires I find in a session, sort of thing. If I find a bonfire, that's like a checkpoint for me. And this week, I want to say I've maybe found 4 or 5, which is really quite good for me. I've got new weapons. I'm fully specced out, all new specs on what have you.
I've got new specs on as well.
Have you? Good, good. And I'm strangely enjoying it, even though it's kind of painful to play at times. But I don't know why. It's just I kind of want to finish it, and like I said, every time I'm thinking you could just be playing Monster Hunter. It's more or less the same thing, but it's newer and it's got an easier arc to it. But I just like go. Oh,
well, imagine how good at Monster Hunter you'll be when you finish Dark Souls.
That's the thing. Is if you can master Dark Souls, then Monster Hunter, piece of cake. No, but I like to think that. So yeah, that's all I've played. I've just been kind of busy doing other stuff, so I've not really played many games. I've just played a lot of Dark Souls and Bayonetta.
Splendid. Well, I've played this little game called Football Manager.
Oh yeah,
which I've been enjoying this week.
How many hours?
Well, we looked beforehand. Sheepdog's played Football Manager for double the hours I've played it in the last 2 weeks. In the last 2 weeks, I've only played 46 hours of Football Manager, and he's on like 120.
Surely it doesn't count it when I'm just idle, does it?
If the game's on, it's counting the hours.
Okay. I think that game's a bit buggier than people make out. I signed a centre back, and basically, I think I played the first game of the season and didn't realise that he was in my squad because I'd forgotten. I must have signed him, and then a load of friendlies passed, and 2 friendlies had passed, and then the season started. And then after the first game, he was like, "Thought I'd be a first teamer. I want to leave now." And I was like, "I'll give you some games. Chill out." And he's like, "No, don't like you. I'm off." And basically, I've had to spend the next 6 weeks trying to make my best centre back stop being a knobhead because the game's buggy.
I imagine you signed him about 8 months previously and forgot.
No, because it was the first game of the season, and I'd literally just signed him. I don't think I'd had any friendlies between getting him and playing him, but it was like one game, and he started kicking off. He's dropped it now as of 2 games ago, but then I realised he wasn't in the squad again, and I was like, no, he's gonna get sand in his bits again, and so far so he's always disinterested and complacent, which is irritating me.
Sounds like you've just got a bad egg. Bin him off.
Seems like it. Well, yeah, maybe I will. Stupid bad eggs.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. I've never seen an egg that bad.
Well, now you have. So yeah, that was my gaming for the week. Football Manager. If we now move on into movies and television, we've got a plethora of movies to discuss because we had the finest family trip to the cinema any family have ever had last weekend. Between 4 people, we watched 3 movies.
Did the press get there in time for you?
I filmed it all, don't worry. I obviously went to see Black Panther because I'm a reasonable human being. The children folk who aren't here, so can't give their detailed reviews, they saw the new Maze Runner movie. And Anna saw something about water. Yeah. Would you like to start with your water film?
What's it called again?
You saw it.
It's been a week.
It's called
Water Boy.
The Shape of Water.
Shape of Water, there it is. Yeah.
I watched The Shape of Water. That's what I watched. Let's see. I just looked at my screen. It was blue.
Was the conclusion that The Shape of Water is a semicircle with a triangle on top of it?
What?
Right.
Anyway. Right,
Sorry.
Okay. I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was basically it's fairy tale for grown-ups, set in like the 60s era, so it had like a BioShock feeling. And basically this woman who was a mute, which means she can hear, she can understand, she just she can't talk for reasons of her own.
Okay.
And she's a cleaner at this like lab place in America, I think. And as she's going about her business cleaning, she sees one of the experiments. She finds it's so stupid, like when I think of it. But one of the not experiments because he's from the Amazon. I don't know what to call it. One of the subjects that were there is basically now if you've played Fallout 4, you'll know what this is. He was basically a Mirelurk king. So this woman was in love with this amphibian man who to me looks like a Mirelurk king from Fallout 4, just with prettier colours, and they get together in like she gives him eggs because he likes protein, and then she gives the amphibian man herself, and they love each other, and there's just so story about her and him, and it's very sweet, and it's like it's basically a fairy tale, but I liked it. It won a BAFTA this week. I can't remember which one it was for, but I can see why it won. It was very good. But this woman fell in love with a Mirelurk king, and that's how I'm going to leave that because it's just so ridiculous. But I don't even know where this comes from. Is it a book or is it? I don't know. But it was good, and I really enjoyed it. And Kev's going to go, well, I saw the best film in the whole wide world, aren't you, Kevin?
Well, hang about. It was no Suicide Squad. But
don't.
Have either of you two seen Black Panther yet?
No, not yet.
Go tomorrow.
Ah, splendid. You're in for a proper treat then, Pork and Beans.
Okay.
It was a rather excellent film. Nicely standalone as well, so I didn't miss out on having not seen Doctor Strange or Thor Ragnarok yet. Completely standalone, and just tells a story of... Actually, it's not completely standalone because it picks up after... Is it in Captain America Civil War?
Yeah.
Panther's in? It picks up from where his story was in that. And it's basically explaining the events that happened around his dad being killed in that thing that happened in Captain America Civil War, and how he establishes himself as the king of Wakanda and being Black Panther, and it's very, very good. It was just a good superhero movie. It wasn't the greatest film in the history of the world, but it was a good, solid superhero movie, and I enjoyed it rather a lot.
Cool. I figured it'd be decent, at least, on par with all the other Marvels. You need to watch Doctor Strange and Ragnarok.
Ragnarok's amazing.
I will do when I find they need to be on Netflix or Amazon or something, so I don't want to have to pay for them. I'm not a crazy person. I need to see them before the Infinity War comes out, which is soon, isn't it?
May?
Yeah, haven't we got like 4 Marvel films coming out this year or something?
Ant-Man, Ant-Man, Infinity War, and what's the other one?
Black Panther.
And another one.
So 4.
Was Thor this year already?
Well, no, 4 was last year.
So Black Panther, Infinity War, Ant-Man, and what's the other one?
That's it.
I'm sure there was another one. There's a thinking of Aquaman or something like that from DC, perhaps. I remember sending my wife a rundown of all the times we needed to go to the cinema for the rest of the year. And it was like 18 times or something stupid. And we haven't been once since I said that.
Well, perhaps you should get on it and go and see Black Panther.
I'm skint.
Just sneak in for free.
Maybe I will.
See if you can get a press pass.
Could you imagine? If we'd have started this segment like 6 years ago when I suggested it and I had the motivation, I could have got us signed up to go to all these films at the premiere.
Well, can't you do it now?
I doubt it.
Have you tried?
I remember I wanted to try.
We do a movie podcast. Why are you not getting in screenings? It's just occurred to me.
I'll try it. Obviously, it wouldn't be a real premiere like in London, but I might get
an advanced screening at the Showcase.
I might just get onto Showcase and say, let us in for now, and they might do. You never know.
Exactly. I'll even bring my own popcorn like I usually do. Say that to them. They'll like that.
Yeah.
So have you two watched any films then?
No, not
no.
films.
I don't think I have, actually. It's been a quiet one for films because I've been playing all week.
What, in a film?
Yeah. I'm trying to think what the hell I've been watching other than Weeds. I think I realised why Anna was so offended about my rant about the theme tune. From season 2 onwards, they don't have that annoying old woman singing it. It's actually awesome for the rest of the season 2 onwards. Now, the old lady just had a horrible voice. Now they sing it in lots of different ways. I always look forward to seeing what magical way
I still can't get my head around the fact you're seeing the theme tune every episode.
No, I'm not. It does it sporadically now. I tried what you said, letting the first few seconds play and then turning it off, and it still just does it.
I don't think you know how to use Netflix, which fascinates me about you.
No, I think Netflix is just on my TV. It's just a pain in the backside. Maybe if I used it on the Xbox or something, it'd be different. But yeah, whatever. I don't know. That's very bizarre, though. The situation that she's in on Weeds with her wedding and all of that. It's just a really odd story. It's like they write it by rolling a dice.
Isn't it weird seeing Negan in it?
It was the first time. I'm kind of over that now, but
yeah, but you're like, oh, hello. Where did you pop up from?
I kind of feel like if he was that build as Negan in the program now, if he looked like that, he'd look more believable. But now he's lost like 10 stone and whatever. He doesn't really look like Negan in Walking Dead. And I forgot that Walking Dead was a thing because it's dead to me now. So, yeah, I do forget that he's in it.
Wow.
What season are you on? Season 2 still with Weeds?
I think so, yes.
We're on 7 now, aren't we, Anna?
Mm-hmm.
It is very good. I'm glad you suggested it because I've seen this loads of times mentioned and I just assumed... I said this before and I'm probably repeating myself, but I just assumed it'd be crap. And it's not. It's really good. I feel like the cover on Netflix, the picture that like they have, may be a spoiler because it kind of includes a lot of characters that are in it now, but not all the characters that are in it now and stuff like that. And I feel like noticing that has bothered me a bit now because I'm just waiting for characters to disappear from it. But then it might not be that kind of program. Like, I don't really know, I suppose, so I'll wait and see. But
yes, you will.
It just occurred to me suddenly, yeah.
You shouldn't pay that much attention.
You know, my brain, it always notices stupid patterns and then annoys me with them.
Annoys everyone else with them as well.
Aye.
What about you, Mr. Beans?
Yes, I've watched and finished the first season of The Good Place. That's what I spent most of my time doing.
We watched the whole of the first season of that, and are we still on the first season?
There's like 12
I know
episodes.
We've watched a lot of them, but I don't remember where we got. I don't know where we are.
Yeah,
it's a good program.
It's really, really good, and there's the twist is kind of like, I wasn't expecting that. There is a twist, and it's really cool. And yeah, and then the second, I've watched the first episode of the second season, and it just keeps on. It goes on from that, from like the status quo from the end of the first season. Just it's so good, so good. And like I say, I feel like that's what I've done mostly this week. It's just watch that. I watched one episode last week on last week's show, and I've watched another 11 this week. I feel like that's all I've done. I mean, that's what I've done.
You need to get a job, you lazy toad. Just sit around watching TV all day.
This is why I've got 2 games on my list, because I've played probably about 3 hours of Dark Souls and probably less than an hour of Bayonetta this week. Because I've watched a lot of The Good Place. That's how good it is, because I don't do this usually. I don't usually binge on television stuff on Netflix at all. You know this. I don't really watch television.
You selected a good one to binge on.
Yeah, it's a good one. It really is. And like I say, there's a second season on Netflix straight away, and I think there's a third season that either will go on there soon or he's already on there. I don't know. I've not checked, but yeah, I can't wait. It's cool.
Splendid. Well, I guess that makes it Comic Book O'Clock then. Everyone's favourite time of the week. Although I haven't actually read a single book this week. I don't think. I need to check my Comixology. I've had a very busy week. I haven't even finished watching SmackDown yet. That's how busy my week's been. So the fact that I've not even managed to finish watching SmackDown suggests I probably haven't read a comic either. You two mooch about, chat about your comic stuff while I have a look at my Comixology. I might have done.
I mean, I've not read loads. I've been reading this build up to Action Comics number 1000. So there's been lots of Superman returning to a Krypton that wasn't destroyed, that exists in a shard of time, and I'm sort of predicting that they're going to somehow affect this shard of time so that it all smashes out into a world where Krypton exists or something. I don't know. But some massive stuff happened in some stuff that just doesn't make any sense. It's just kind of a weird cop-out, I guess, happened in the normal Superman comic that will affect that. There's a weird story about, I think, did I say to you before, there was a weird story I was reading where Superman, it was showing, it's the anniversary of Krypton exploding, and Superman has it on film and wants to show it to his son. So they meet at the Fortress of Solitude to watch the video of Krypton exploding, because he feels like it's important for his son to see the moment that their entire species was wiped out. I don't really get what father and son would do that. But anyway, and then they get an alert about a planet in the galaxy that is about to explode. And Superman says, let's go and save them. It'll be a fun little thing to do. You know, we're doing it on the day that Krypton exploded. We'll save a species. But when they get there, they're all a bunch of religious fanatics who worship a god called Dermot, and they think that if Dermot wills it, he'll kill them all. If he doesn't will it, he'll save them. And Superman's trying to tell them all to just forget Dermot and flee the planet because it's about to explode. And they're all saying, "How dare you defy Dermot? Do what Dermot wishes," and so they want to kill him. The writing got a little bit weak because inexplicably Superman's powers weren't there for a bit and they were blocking it, and then later on he was like, "I've got my powers back now, oh brilliant." But it was interesting. Jonathan Kent learnt a lesson. Superman was very politically correct about it all and was saying, like, you know, I respect your religion, but you shouldn't let yourselves all die just because you think Dermot wants you to. What if Dermot sent me? And I won't spoil how it resolves, but it does seem to be heavily, constantly going on about Krypton exploding at the moment. And as I say, he's visited Krypton in the past / a sideways shard universe, and Lois Lane's gone on a random mission to I can't remember what they call it. It's like, you know how Wakanda doesn't exist? It's actually Uganda. This one's called something like Gumbodia, or I don't know. I can't remember, but it's like Cambodia or somewhere like that. But they've made up their own name for it. and Lois Lane's dad's a prisoner of war there, and he's going to be executed. So she's gone over there to rescue him. What's confusing me a lot is how Jonathan Kent is with her, with Superman in space, doing his he's going to school, his stuff. He's trying to become a Teen Titan, and I'm like, this kid, and they're not all set in different universes because the stories keep intertwining, but it's breaking my brain because it's all set at different. I mean, I was just reading I mentioned last week about the Dark Metal tie-in episodes, and they basically got to a point where they had a fight and then they were a bit bruised, so they all left, and so they're all cracking on with their lives in New York and so forth, while Black Metal hasn't been resolved. You know, Batman's at large, Superman's at large, pretty much all the major heroes are missing. But it's weird how this tie-in ties in when it suits it. It's it's all a bit mind-breaking. But it looks like it's coming to a very cool conclusion. We must be if it's a monthly, then we must be 2 months away from 1,000. I can't remember now. I've lost track.
It's 2 weekly, isn't it, rather than monthly? Action Comics.
Yeah, I can't remember if we're 2 or 4 away though. That's part of why I think we're at 96, so 4. So that, but yeah, whatever. Anyway, it's due in the next quarter or so. I don't know what to expect really. I hope it's a big deal. I was reading more about those new heroes they're bringing out. The one that you were saying, we both spoke about how it looks like Spider-Man and that. That's one thing that I did kick off this week. I've been getting a lot of people messaging me on Twitter because I asked DC why they basically cloned Spider-Man. And everyone's just been going, that's the point. I'm like, but there isn't a point. That isn't a point. I'm like, what point are you telling me that they're making? But I read about the writer, and apparently he was a massive Spider-Man fan, and I don't know why he didn't just get a job at Marvel, but apparently he's decided to write this new hero that can dimension jump in the air to go from A to B rather than shooting web, but he wears a blue Spider-Man suit. He's a teenager. With great power comes great liability is his tagline. And apparently his dimension jumps are breaking time or space
or a rascal.
Yeah, so there is that twist to it that's different, but the fact that was the tagline DC went with, I was just like, this is silly and it's frustrating. Like, I don't mind, I'm sure it'll be good, but I just wish that they'd gone, okay, that sounds great, now let's just tweak all the bits that look like Spider-Man so that we look like we're geniuses. Because if they'd have just replaced, I don't know, just as an example, if they'd have taken that character out and replaced it with the appearance and backstory of Constantine as an example, and just ignored all the demon stuff of him and just had that character go and live that story, it would have looked like a completely original thing. But because they picked Spider-Man, it just seems ridiculous that I think I probably don't make much sense, but it's just odd that they've picked Spider-Man and gone, yeah, we're going to do a Spider-Man story with some twists. I was reading more about their Terrifics, and it really is just the Fantastic Four. Damage is really just the Thing and Hulk. It's insane how cloney they all are, and this is especially with their new age. And I'm thinking, well, how's that really going? Everyone's going to just get bored after 5 seconds.
Turns out I did read one comic. I read issue 32 of Stray Bullets, Sunshine and Rose. Still great. If you've still not read Stray Bullets, dear listener, please rectify this great error that you are forcing upon yourself. Stray Bullets is awesome. This issue was awesome. It's just splendid. Pab.
Yes.
Oh, is there a new issue of Sex Criminals out this week?
Ooh.
Interesting.
There's always like a hardback out before Comic-Con, isn't there?
I don't know. I've not read an issue of this for ages. In fact, looking at this, I'm about 6 issues behind. I've missed an entire arc. I need to buy some comics.
I've not read it yet. I've got it on my shelf with all the other comics I've not read.
Splendid.
Where was I? What have I read?
You were going to tell us what you'd been reading.
I have read Volume 1 of Deadly Class.
Ooh, Deadly Class is excellent.
Deadly Class is amazing. So good. I had it on my list for a long time. I got it for Christmas. And I finally got round to it, and it's such a cool little book. It's a really interesting. It's a dark book. I'll give it that. It's kind of dark.
Well, it's a murder school.
Yeah,
it's going to be a bit dark.
School for deadly assassins.
Yeah.
I'm
slowly starting to realise that Rick Remender might be a bit of a genius.
Oh yeah.
I'm reading a lot of his stuff lately, and yeah, he knows what's what.
Well, I just looked on the back, and it said Rick Remender from Black Science, which I recommended months and months ago, probably last year now at this point. I was like, yep, okay.
Tokyo Ghost was great. 17 was great. Lowe's next on my list. I haven't read that one yet, but I'm just looking through his back catalogue. The last 4 or 5 things he's been involved with have all been just brilliant. So clearly the man knows his onions.
Yeah, I mean, this one's about, it focuses on one child, Marcus, who's effectively at the start of the book homeless. He's just a homeless guy living on the street. It's set in late 80s, I think. Yeah, late 80s. And he gets brought into this assassin where he's then got to fit in, and it reminded me of sort of in this, where they show the different classes and what have you that they got that he goes through throughout a day. It reminded me of Harry Potter sort of thing, where this is the combat classes, this is the dark arts sort of class, this is the murdering one, and there's one where it's just showing out there's a class for decapitating people. And stuff like that. It's just okay. It had a Harry Potter vibe to that. I like that. And it's a really good read. It's one of the few books where I was gutted when it ended, because I was like, I'm going to start the next thing. I can't leave this one now, in the sense of I cannot leave it another 6 months till I get volume 2 and I'll forget what's going on again. I'll have to read it again. I kind of don't want that to happen. I do that with so many books. I just pick issue 1 up and just start reading, and then it takes me months to get back to volumes 2. So I need to get into... Well,
you need to get yourself up the comic shop tomorrow then, young man, and stock up. There's about 4 or 5 trades after that one.
Is there really?
Yeah.
So I've got... Okay. That's the other thing. I was thinking to myself, I need to get up to date, and I thought, do I want to get up to date? Because I get up to date with stuff like Saga or something like that, but it's in the sense of trades. Then I'm just kind of waiting 6 to 8 months for a next trade, and I forget anyway. I need
to get to have the fun of reading them again.
I need to just get a set that's finished, and then I thought about, I need to get Invincible. Is it Invincible?
Oh, Invincible's huge though. There's
200 but it's finished though. It's done. It's finished this week, hasn't it? Or last week?
I haven't read that for about 5 years, but I used to really, really enjoy it.
Yeah, actually, I think it's just finished. The last couple of weeks.
So I think I got as far as issue 100 and fell off.
Right.
So I might have to climb back aboard. Now it's finished.
Yeah. I was like, there's a finite number of issues, and there's not many past 100. To be fair, I don't think.
Okay.
So
perhaps it wasn't 5 years ago then.
There's no more than 20 issues, I think.
Oh well, in that case, I shall definitely get caught up.
Something like that. It's not a massive amount anyway, because I was like, it seems doable.
Kirkman's ending a comic series, is it? There's a long-running comic series. Interesting. He's got it in him then. Perhaps he'll end The Walking Dead too.
Maybe. But I mean,
go and live on an island somewhere.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all I've read.
Splendid. Well, I think that just about wraps things up for this week then, which has been a rather marvellous affair. Oh, by the way, I did put a Facebook event up for the Saturday night of London Comic Con, Bodine's meetup, traditional shenanigans. If you're interested in attending, it is Saturday the 26th of May. It'll be Bodine's Tower Hill. You need to let us know that you come in so that we can add you to the table. Otherwise, you won't be on the table. And we'll end up one extreme or the other. We've in the last few years we've had a booking for 20 and 30 people turn up, and they've had to sit outside. And then last year it was just me, Anna, and Pab at Bodine's by ourselves 2 nights in a row.
Yeah.
So we're bookings of 8 and whatever it might be. So we're quite capable of going one extreme or the other. But it would be nice to tie down some numbers and names, get a reasonable sized table booked for the right amount of people, because I don't think we've ever done that. Anyway, go on, Sheepdog.
I was saying that 30 year was stressful. Sorry, that 30 year would do my head in. So let's get it right.
But you can find all the details on that by heading over to all of the various social media places that we inhabit. Specifically for that one, it's on my Facebook page rather than the podcast one. I'll have to add it to the podcast one as well. But it's on facebook.com/Lelujo. At the moment, it's where you'll find the event, or obviously you could do the podcast one as well, which is facebook.com/Mature Gamer Podcast. Or Twitter is also a thing. That's a good website. Twitter, we've got a podcast one, which is at MGUK Podcast, or a super duper one that has my smiling face on it, at Lelujo.
Mine's at RB6K.
Anna. I miss Lelujo.
And
I miss Lelujo.
There we go.
Sorry, I was reading about fire.
And I'm
at Pab 1986.
And I can't remember if there's anything I use. Oh, Lelujo.fm. That's a great website for people who like Football Manager fun, or vlogs or stuff like that.
If you like blogs, mine's sheepdogrights.com.
It's pronounced vlog, sheepdog, not blog. What's this nonsense?
I'm nearly at 30,000 hits now. Sorry, you were trying to talk, but
I was trying to wrap things up. I've got
wrap it up.
Got to see a man about a dog. See you next week, boys and girls.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Thank you very much for listening.